Mr. Speaker.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to move a motion without notice in relation to the typhoon in the Philippines.
Is there any objection to that course of action being taken? There is none. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House expresses its support for the people and the government of the Philippines in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan, our solidarity with those waiting for news about friends and family, and our condolences to those who have lost loved ones. Mr. Speaker, over the weekend, one of the biggest storms yet recorded hit the Philippines. It caused major damage and affected nearly 10 million people. The scale of the disaster is staggering, and a full picture of the destruction and loss of life is still emerging. The images we are seeing out of the affected areas are deeply harrowing, and I know that all New Zealanders will be moved by them. The anguish within our large Filipino community reminds us how closely this disaster is felt here at home. At this stage, we know that more than 500,000 people have been displaced. The death toll is significant and rising, and many people are desperately waiting for news about their loved ones. Following the Christchurch earthquakes, many New Zealanders were confronted with these same emotions, and we know firsthand how difficult the response to and recovery from a major natural disaster can be. What we also learned from Christchurch is that no country has to face this alone. The international community always stands ready to help. Last night I called President Aquino to personally extend New Zealanders' condolences and to assure him that we stand ready to assist in any way that we can. Almost immediately after Typhoon Haiyan hit, we announced a contribution of $150,000 to the International Federation of Red Cross to help with the delivery of much-needed relief items. We've now announced a further assistance package totalling $2 million. $750,000 of this funding will be delivered via New Zealand non-government organisations, and the balance will be used to address priorities identified by the Philippines government and international humanitarian community. In addition, we will be helping to provide disaster management expertise. An official from the New Zealand Aid Programme will be joining the Specialist United Nations Disaster Assessment Coordination Team. We've also deployed a senior consular advisor to supplement our embassy consular response to the typhoon. Mr. Speaker, I have made clear our willingness and readiness to provide further assistance if required. Finally, I am due, Mr. Speaker, to visit the Philippines next week to lead a delegation focused on building business ties and furthering the already very strong relationship between our two countries. One of the areas in which we cooperate closely with the Philippines and other countries of the region is in disaster risk management. Typhoon Haiyan reminds us why this is an ever-relevant and ever-pressing shared challenge. I have spoken to the President and offered to postpone this visit on the grounds that the Philippines government will be focusing on recovery efforts. We await their response. Again, on behalf of this House and of all New Zealanders, I extend our condolences to President Aquino and his people at this difficult time. We also pay tribute to the resilience of the Philippines people and those working to respond to this cyclone.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Honourable David Carr.
Mr. Speaker, in this awful time,